going live.
Okay.
Okay. And then let's get this thing recorded. Because last time I forgot to record it. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
Do it right there too, just in case. All right. Let's give a few seconds, get some people jumping on board here. There it goes. See that?
Yep.
Everyone, welcome. Welcome to One-on-One with Coach Blu and Athletic Director Marissa. So glad that you are joining us today. Shoot, we had a little bit of bout of spring and now woke up to a little skiff of snow. We need this.
Yes, we do. It's not enough.
No, it's kind of crazy here. It's almost like Arizona weather or something, huh?
Yeah.
No,
it was.
It was nice. It was nice. Hey, this is your opportunity, everyone, to jump on, talk a little bit about anything that therapeutic by nature, addiction recovery, health, recreation, athletics. We've got some questions here from you, the viewers and the listeners, that we can kind of discuss a little bit. But yeah, this is a time for you guys to jump on. Any questions you have? We've got quite a bit of content on our website at addict2athlete.org. You'll find so much stuff there. All of our backlog podcasts. Marissa's done a great job of systematically putting them into categories, right?
Yes.
The categories, they're like interviews, there's education, there's all kinds of different, I guess.
Our youth and teenage ones with our daughter, Savannah, who hosts.
The minor league. Absolutely. So jump on addict2athlete.org and check out the resources. We have some amazing merch on our.
Yeah. Tons of recovery merch and recreation stuff. We'd also what are we? What is Addict Athlete?
Addict Athlete is a addiction recovery program.
We're a nonprofit organization. We offer sober support groups in different locations, online resources, recovery and online recovery program that you can join. We have a Patreon. We have even a certified sober coaching program.
Absolutely. Jump on addict2athlete.org. You'll find all of it there.
Mm-hmm.
By way of announcements, as you might see now, kind of coming out in the media, Addict Athlete are at our nonprofit status, along with five other programs. Six other programs. We're able to secure grants for some amazing things for the next 4 years.
Yes, a new federal grant that came through to specifically for organizations that help with health, wellness, exercise, and recovery. So yeah, we felt like it was kind of written for us. We were so excited to see this come through and be able to be part of it, and now be able to reap some of the rewards to be able to build our program up, which we've been, just anticipating for years. This is a great opportunity for us. We're
Absolutely.
excited.
And one aspect of this grant that I'm super stoked about is the alignment that it was able to produce with Team Addict II Athlete and Fit to Recover.
Mm-hmm.
Fit to Recover, Addict II Athlete. I started Addict II Athlete in 2011. Soon thereafter, Ian Acker started Fit to Recover. And since then,
which is a sober gym in Salt Lake. Yeah.
We've had a lot of programs pop up understanding the I guess, connection between health, wellness, recreation, and recovery. Movement equals recovery. Yep. Movement equals dopamine. So it's kind of a cool thing, but the two old school programs, Addict Athlete and Fit to Recover, we've joined teams, we've joined connections, and we actually host our Tuesday night Utah County meeting at Fit to Recover.
Yep.
And so I highly recommend checking out their website, getting involved with them. Ian and the team down here, they have a gym that you can go to throughout the week. They offer all kinds of classes and workout regimes, and I think really it's a huge connection. So go check out Fit to Recover as well. Just a great connection, and super stoked at what Addict Athlete and Fit to Recover is going to be able to do. So we're excited about that. But I'll tell you, we're going to jump right into this because there's a little bit of a burning in the heart here. With that kind of publicity also comes a lot of scathing, kind of upset in situations. And it was funny because, Marissa, I'm not sure how you saw this today.
I got an email.
Someone had left a very scathing review of Addict II Athlete on the Better Business Bureau of Utah. Mm-hmm. And it comes from a former athlete who is trying to play the dumb card and say, I have no idea why Addict II Athlete excuse me not to participate anymore.
Yeah.
I think he forgot the fact that when you make legitimate death threats to the coach, myself, you, our children,
abusive,
and another coach
harassing
of our team, those are kind of means for you not to participate.
Yep.
And so it's kind of an interesting thing. He wrote this very scathing email about or what was a post about why we are a racist program, we are a bigoted program, and I love the fact that he put this little thing like, I have no idea why. Well, the individual I'm talking about, go contact local law enforcement. They're looking for you because they have a little surprise for you with a stalking in.
I had to file a stalking injunction, and so did our other coach because of the harassment and the threats of violence and harm to ourselves and our families. So, and now he has been on the run and been hiding, so they haven't been able to serve that to him.
But like a little bit of guerrilla warfare where they come out and they hit and they try to run. That's what he's doing. And it sucks, but you have to understand, and I understand, George, he made this comment on our post. He said, hurt people hurt. And that's what he is. And I hope he gets the help that he needs. But it does stink because what he does is try to segregate a lot of people.
Yeah.
He knows extremely well why he's not part of this team and never will be because of these kind of things. And I think and
it's great. And we understand he needs help, and he has been part of our team in the past.
He's won awards on this team.
Yeah. But when things become abusive and unsafe, then we set a boundary, and that's how all relationships are. So we set a boundary, said it wasn't appropriate. He pushed it. He became violent. And so, we had to go to the police and get legal involved, and he can look for services in other places.
Yeah. As we say, there's 5 other programs that do similar things the Addict Athlete does, but I'll bet you that they'll also be raising an eyebrow because it's kind of one of these things where you'll always have these kind of people gaslighting, kind of like manipulating, trying to twist the truth. And it's very disgusting, but it makes me also kind of hurt for those who are in relationships like this.
Oh yeah.
Where it's interesting because the comment that he made of, I have no idea, really?
Yeah,
you have
the
clue?
gaslighting and that, like trying to make us look like, were we not clear with him?
We could, if we really wanted to, and we're not going to, but we could post everything he said. We could do audios of everything he's recorded.
Yeah.
And it would literally turn your stomach.
It's horrifying.
We've given that all to the police. The police have it all. And in fact, they were like, ooh, this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so, for the safety, for this, I guess, the sanctity of the program, he said about transparency, be very transparent.
Yeah.
We could do that if we wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary. The police are involved, but again, it got me thinking about people that are in abusive relationships and what they have to go through.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, see, I hate to say this, but we're safe people to channel this through because we took a glancing blow off of the coach that he was really focusing on and took it on ourselves. And we became part of his crossfire. And that's fine with us because we have the emotional stability, we have the resources, and we have the connections with the people that we need to put an end to it. But when he picks on somebody that doesn't and they start feeling helpless, they feel alone, they feel isolated and segregated. That happens a lot in abusive relationships.
It's horrible.
And please, if you are in a relationship where you are being constantly manipulated, if you're being emotionally, physically abused, you need to reach out for help and you need to leave, and we will help you if necessary.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where it's okay for him to say these scathing things to us because we all know they're not true.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, he said, that we're not transparent. Absolutely. We are. As a 501c3, you have to be.
Yeah.
And
we've been very, very transparent with him. He
absolutely.
knows.
Like, give me your financials. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
As a 501c3, we provide those. That's what we have to do. And it was funny because every time he tries to do something, he gets shut down. But I'll bet you what it was when he saw on the media release today that Addict Athlete received the grant, that he, he's hurt. And I don't blame him. He lost a very significant part of
it was a good sober support system for him. But, when he abused it, you lose it. And that's what you have to understand as an adult. And I know he's been through multiple situations like this, and he still hasn't learned, which is sad. That there are other resources out there that he needs to look out for now because he has not been able to respect boundaries by others. And that's the thing you have to stand up for yourself in.
Absolutely.
And it's so important that we talk about this with other relationships, that people have healthy boundaries. And this, when you talk about situations with gaslighting, this isn't just like a romantic relationships, but this is in friendships. There's gaslighting. This is in coworker relationships. And gaslighting is when you try to, I guess, tell the other person that things that did happen didn't, or that they saw them the wrong way, or that's not how it really was, until the other person that's being victimized starts mistrusting themselves. They don't understand, like, is this true? Oh yeah, maybe I did hear it wrong. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I am twisting it. And then they start feeling like they're the crazy person.
Yeah.
Because the other person is so vocal in expressing, the situation in a different light that makes them look like they are the one that's picked on when they're the one that is twisting. And it's a dangerous form of mental abuse, and it's horrifying.
So in situations like that, where someone comes out of an addiction, and the abusers, the people like this individual I'm talking about, when they see someone gaining light, and they see someone gaining health and stability, these are they who try to pull them down. It's like the old analogy of the crabs in the basket, right?
Yeah.
They don't put lids on crab baskets because they work against each other to keep them stuck. As one's crawling out to seek freedom, another one's like, I'm coming too, and pulls them back down, and they both end up staying down.
Yep.
It's the most amazing phenomenon ever, but it's like they work against each other. And that's what these kind of people, that's what this individual is doing. And it's like, wow, when you start seeing someone that has, like, in a relationship where you're leaving an abusive situation, you're leaving an addiction behind, there will be people that don't want you to change either.
Yeah.
Misery enjoys company is the oldest, play in the book, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll do everything in their power to keep you there. And then, as you're getting healthy and you're kind of detaching, they'll try to, manipulate or even thwart your abilities to leave.
Yeah.
And so realistically, that's where the team comes in handy, is being able to see things from a different perspective, being able to leave that behind. It's not easy. My heart breaks for anyone who's in that situation.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't been made aware from our coach that this has been going on for years, this isn't just something that happened yesterday. This has been going on for years.
Yeah. We've been going through this with him and his abuse and
I'm like,
tactics.
Man, you're not going to shake our foundation.
Yeah.
We are when you're in this industry of addiction recovery and your light gets bright, there will be people that try to snuff that out.
Yeah. We have some really good comments here on some of this gaslighting too. Holly said, I find that people that need boundaries are the ones that fight the boundaries the most.
Isn't that
the
truth, Holly? You're spot on. Isn't that true? Why do you think that is? It's like in tennis when someone, the ball goes right on the line.
Yeah.
Right. And they fight and they fight and they fight, and then they replay and they fight, and then it's like, oh, that was out of bounds.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? Why do people fight that?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because they don't have any boundaries, that they feel so out of control and unsafe that they try to control other people. And then when they're given, set standards to follow, that's just, it seems too much. And kind of goes along. Andrew says, when a toxic person can't control you anymore, they'll try to control how others see you. Yes. And again, most gaslighters, Andrew, that's what they do as well. They say, let me just control you by creating the narrative that works for me. Yeah. And that's where gaslighting comes in, and any other control techniques. And when the other person sets a boundary and walks away and like, I'm not going to engage in this argument, I'm not going to engage in this fight anymore, then they want to go outside and find how they can control other people by creating their own narrative and controlling how others see you.
That's called triangulation, right? It's where you have a problem with someone, and instead of going to that someone, you go to the other someone's, and then you conspire against that person. Yeah,
you can get them to be on your side.
It happens a lot in business, happens a lot in families, right?
Yeah.
And we try to recruit so that we can justify our feelings, but
and our behaviors.
Yep. Andrew's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too is that one comment on a Better Business Bureau thing, no big deal, because everyone listening to this could get on and counter, I guess, submit that, right?
Yeah.
Everyone could. But the problem is that I feel is when you start triangulating like this, it's like if he would come to us humbly, and we could say, dude, you need some help. We can't help you, but we can align you with people that can.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, holy cow. but that's not going to happen because
that's not what he
they
wants.
want to be right.
And I don't know if he really wants
Of
the
course not.
sober support. He
Of
wants
course
to
not.
control. He wants to, demand, and who knows what else.
I hope he gets help.
He needs a lot of help for sure.
And David, you know where you are because the police are looking for you because they have a little paper for you. So next, go post something on maybe local law enforcement. Let them know.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing, but you guys, I appreciate all your feedback. I appreciate your support. Criticism. It's like this. People, when you're in a, I don't know, professional sport. I've talked to Max Hall about this. People will boo you and people will cheer for you, but when you're on the field, it's just noise.
Yeah.
And that's all this kind of stuff is, right?
Mhm.
It's like, I'm not going to accept the boos at all. And I'm not going to really accept the cheers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah. Keep doing what you know is true, what you know is good, and be patient. And in time, things will continue. They will work out.
Absolutely.
But if you really get too sidetracked and focused on all the negative feedback you hear, if it's somebody that you respect and love, maybe somebody that knows you really well, and you're getting some really strong criticism and feedback, take it, because maybe you need to look at that.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's interesting. You and I several years ago had a very interesting situation happen where we were asked to leave a business that we co-owned.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the justification was it was because all the staff and all of the clients hated us.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, what?
Something out of left field.
One day before this, one of the former clients who had been, living, outside of the program, donated money to Addict Athlete.
Yeah.
I got thinking,
nonprofit.
well, that doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Kylie was working there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, by the sounds of this, that means my own sister hates me.
Yeah.
So what?
What do you mean?
And I remember that and I thought, well, okay, why do people do that? Like what David's done with this and that situation, why do people, instead of being honest and saying like, this hurts or this isn't going to work out.
I don't like the way you're doing this, so I don't want to be part of it, whatever.
Why do they fit a narrative to demonize people?
Well, I think sometimes that's where their mind goes, that's what makes sense to them. And their perspective is skewed
but do you really
and
think that's what it
distorted.
is? Do you really think it's because they believe it?
In some
or do
ways,
they need to find an excuse?
In
to
some ways,
validate
I
it?
think they believe it, sadly, because when you get in certain situations and you're angry or frustrated, you don't see things clearly.
We see this in divorces.
Yeah,
right.
You don't. Yeah, you see from your perspective how it looks, and it looks so messed up. But yeah, there's probably things that they want to add to it to make it seem worse. So maybe they just make it up, or they hear one complaint from someone, and so then they assume that everyone's on that same page and everyone agrees with that. And so they lay blanket statements. And I think some people are just vicious,
True.
and they just say
They
things,
lie.
they just straight out lie. Absolutely. I think that happens too.
That's an interesting concept. And I'm so glad you brought that up. It's hard because, there's no proof there, but the words hurt, right? But the funny thing is for days and even weeks after the fact, when we were let go, I was like, this makes zero sense. Why? Because all of the clients began to call us. What happened? What's going on? Oh my God.
Well, and I took it upon myself. I contacted all the staff personally and apologized to them because some of the things we had been told that we were doing that was so inappropriate. I thought, if that's really what I was doing and I didn't know, I'm sorry. And so I sent them all messages
right,
apologizing for any behavior, any wrongdoing I had done, ways that I hadn't heard them when they had concerns, or was a very dictatorship kind of CEO and boss. I didn't want anyone to look at me that way. And every single one of them that I contacted replied and said, what? And so either they were all lying to me, or, the other one was.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm sorry if that's the way we came across. That was not meant to be. I didn't want anyone to think of us in poor light, because that wasn't my intention.
What I've noticed is the people, and there have been several throughout the 11 years that we've operated this program, that have had feelings hurt or been offended without even our knowledge.
Yes.
Right?
So there are times, we do it without knowing,
Absolutely. And so when that happens, I know that there's also, I'll always remember Malcolm, when Malcolm pulled me aside once and he's like, Coach, I need to give you some feedback. And, this was probably circa 2000, maybe 13, 14. And he's like, I've noticed that after the meetings and stuff, like, and I want to talk to you. And he's like, I kind of feel like, you're not participating as much, and I can't, get your attention. And it was really kind of cool, because it was like, he's like, I know you're busy. He's like, but maybe we can do it this way. And he offered some suggestions that we actually adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll always remember that, because he had the courage to come up and confront the issue. And I was able to hear it, like you said,
head on,
take it head on. And I'm like, dude, that is awesome.
And because you
Thank
respected him, you trust him, that you're like, okay, maybe I'm going to be angry, or when you're being told something that's, you've done something wrong or stupid. Yeah. It's hard sometimes to accept that and lower your pride and go, yeah, I screwed up.
Brett Frew, when I was, even on the therapeutic level, when I was really heavy with Brett, and on his podcast here on Addict Athlete, you can go back and listen to it.
Talk about it.
He called me out, and he's like, look, I get it, but this is how I see it. And this is what I want you to know. And I was, man, I loved that.
Yeah.
Why are people afraid to do that?
It's hard.
It is.
I mean, it's much easier to come across in like this angry, aggressive.
Well, David knows what he's doing. David's doing that simply to stir the pot, because he knows damn well why he's not on this team.
Yeah.
He knows why.
Yeah.
But
he's trying to manipulate.
That was funny.
And he's trying to be aggressive,
passive
aggressive, and he's trying to gaslight us again. And it's a manipulative, a gaslighting, abusive tactic.
But there's also been times where communication has broke down and misunderstandings have happened, and the same thing has occurred. And we say,
or we said something that was inappropriate or wrong, or they perceived it wrong and they took it wrong. And then even if I say something that's not meant to hurt someone, but it hurts someone, and they come to me about it, I can still apologize that I didn't mean for them to hear it that way. Yeah. That wasn't my intention behind it, and that we can clarify and discuss that, further. We see it a lot in relationships, specifically in divorce, where feelings are hurt and then everything is blame shifted onto the other person. Right. And that's dangerous territory. You've got to be in a mindset of being able to, or be willing to establish some kind of conflict resolution instead of blame shifting. It's just like your addiction. You have to take accountability for your addiction, your behaviors. You can't blame shift it. Like in therapy and counseling, when we talk about a lot of these kind of things, we talk about histories, and histories always involve parents. And when we start talking about parents, there's some sticky, like thin ice kind of moments where the people think that we are going to demonize their parents. I'm like, no, that's not even on the radar, but they have stewardship in this. Doesn't mean they're the cause of it. Yeah. But it's okay to say, you know what? Yeah, that kind of hurt. That kind of stunk. And it may be something that parents need to hear, which is painful to hear, that, maybe your child went through something awful, or that they perceived something you said or did as painful or hurtful when it really wasn't. That's hard to hear, but it doesn't mean it's all your fault, but you need to be there and be able to let them be heard and validate their feelings for how they felt in the situation they were in. Well, and we can do that even in a situation with David. And I can say, you know what, man, I validate your pain. It would hurt to lose this kind of support. It really would. Yeah. But we will not be disrespected, and you will not disrespect and threaten people that we love and care about. And when it all started, it was just because our coach up there was friends with him and another athlete who he didn't like. They had a relationship, and he was trying to demand that our coach up there not talk to, believe, trust, be friends with this other athlete. See, now that's where it all started. That's an interesting concept. And she was just saying, hey, I don't want to get involved in your guys's drama, but I would like to be a support and a friend to both of you. And that wasn't okay with him. And that's where the whole thing spiraled to death threats and demanding and physical violence. And I mean, he has sent her emails and texts and voicemails. Disgusting. Thousands. Thousands. And they're disgusting. And they're horrifying. But that's the thing too, right? Is athletes, listeners, this is the real life stuff that lots of you are going through, whether it's a family member, whether it's a job, whether it's, school, whatever. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. To thine own self be true. I need you to know,
for Addict to Athlete, any program out there, that if everyone likes you, there's a problem. Does that make sense? If everyone likes you, that means you're not standing up for what you're believing in.
Yeah. To me, that means you're probably camouflaging a lot, depending on who you're around, to pacify and make everyone else happy or think that you believe everything they believe. And then oftentimes that also means that you're struggling with your own identity and self-belief because, you don't know who you are. So you are shifting, adapting, and changing depending on your surroundings and who you're around. And that's not good in the long run either.
In a world of cancel culture, that's what everyone's afraid of, right? Everyone's afraid of cancel culture. And when we hear this kind of feedback, as crazy as it is, that's the first thing that goes to your head is, oh no. But it's like, you know what? No, you do, like there. I don't know if you knew this, Marissa, but there are people out there in this world, they don't like me.
Oh, you do?
At all.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard from one today, right?
Yes, David.
But that's okay. I'm okay with that because really at the end of the day, I have to be okay with me. I have to look myself in the mirror and be okay with me.
Yep.
That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. And if I'm okay with me, I can be okay with you. I can be okay with the kids.
Yeah.
And everybody else, that's all on the back burner.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is because I'm okay with me and I'm okay with you and I'm okay with my kids, I get to be okay with the athletes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, and that's one of the posts I put up on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Was how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you.
Yeah.
It's a quote by Uper Kaur. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's, again, if you cannot love and care about yourself, it's going to be hard for others to do that too, because they see how you treat yourself. They see what things you expect. I've said many times, we teach other people how to treat us.
Who taught you that? I wonder.
My mom.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I think so.
No,
maybe you did too. I don't know.
No, I love it. I think that you should absolutely spot on.
Yeah. We teach other people how to treat us by what we allow them to do to us or for us. So, if we allow people to talk poorly to us, if we allow people to degrade us or anything else, then they're assuming that's okay.
Yeah.
And that you're okay with that kind of behavior and that kind of treatment.
I witnessed that one time in a grocery store, and I was there in the cereal aisle, and this young lady had a little kid in the cart. And when he went to reach for the box of sugary cereal, she's like, no, we're not getting that. And this kid went nuts. He lit her up. I'll bet you he was probably 6 or 7, maybe 6.
Okay.
And he started calling her a B word and F you. And I'm like, where in the crap did you, what?
Yeah.
And she's all, you be quiet. That's embarrassing. And she scurried down to there. And I thought, ooh, where did he learn that?
Yeah. Because
even the kids with you, there's been times when they've cocked off to you. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I remember doing that with a family member that did that to you once. That was, throwing some venom your way.
Yeah.
After you'd had the baby, Brooklyn, and he made some comments, and I said, I outrank you. She may be your sister, but I'm her husband. You will never talk to her that way. And I kind of remember your parents kind of like, ooh, calm down.
Yeah.
But do not ever disrespect my wife that way.
I've appreciated it. It's helped a ton because there's times where, whether it's them or the kids, where I can only say and do so much, but to have you by my side, backing me up and saying, that's not appropriate. You don't ever talk to her that way, that they show that we're a united front.
Absolutely. It's a big deal. That's what this team is. We are a united front. And so when this coach is up there feeling like she's being threatened and
she was being harassed
intervened
and abused. Yeah.
And because we intervened, we got to share the venom.
Yeah.
And I would do it again and again and again, because she doesn't deserve that.
Never.
And she's our coach, and you don't treat our coaches that way. You don't treat any of our athletes that way.
Yeah. Who is trying to be supportive to everyone on her team. You can't demand or tell her who she can talk to.
Well, it's funny. You see this in all walks of life. I mean, there's no question out there that we belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And, for us, it's a beautiful thing. It stabilizes us. It gives us a foundation. We don't wear it on our sleeve, but it's who we are.
Yeah.
And I noticed this when I joined the church, all the venom that was on the other side. And I thought, there were these guys up there screaming religious rhetoric. And I'm thinking, am I really going to listen to you the way you're approaching this?
Yeah.
Like you're spitting on us, you're calling us all these names. I'm like, do you think anyone's going to be, oh my gosh,
what they're saying?
This guy's calling me out. He's swearing at me. He's like, poking his cross in my face. Dude, he must be right.
I'm thinking, just if you have a different belief, share your belief rather than attacking mine. Just share what you believe. I'd love to hear.
I know it happens. I know it happens on both sides.
And I do love hearing what other people's views are on their spirituality and their understanding of God and faith. But to try to attack someone else's faith is
so here's the situation too, listeners. When you're out there in the room, when you're and this is why I think Yelp is kind of stupid, that app, because you could go in and have the best experience and then write down how great it was. But then like you read a review after you put yours in, and it's like, oh, someone else had a really bad experience there. Mm-hmm. These perspectives and points of view are the stupidest thing. It was like this. When we were part of that treatment program up there, someone wrote a Google review of me, and they're like, that guy is so stuck up. He says that it's a privilege to have a relationship with him. And I'm like, yeah, keep going though, brother. What's the rest of it? Yeah. Because I will teach everybody I come in contact with that it's a privilege to have a relationship with them. It's not a right. Yeah. And if that right is violated,
and it goes both ways. It's a privilege to have a relationship with you, and for us to have relationships with our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I like reading some of those reviews because it's like, listeners, do never be persuaded by someone's scathing review, because that's their opinion. That's their point of view. Yeah. Go check it out for yourself. Right. I would invite anyone to go read David's post. I think it's hilarious, because when you read it, you're like, dude, what? And the only reason it doesn't, rock my boat is because I know authentically who we are. Yeah. But remember, people, you read treatment center reviews all over, and some of them are horrible. Yeah. But you know what it tells me? One or two things. One, they got kicked out because they broke a rule. Yeah. Or B, right? What do you think the B is?
I don't know.
What do you think? Why would people do
because it's true? Because there's horrible treatment centers out there?
Even still.
That's fair.
Okay. Even still. You can find sobriety anywhere.
Absolutely.
So although there are some treatment centers out there that I may not, like theologically agree with, you could find it anywhere. Yeah. Someone could start a treatment center in the woods, and you could find it there.
If you could have realistic people posting views or reviews, that would be great. But a lot of treatment centers too will just go on and have fake people. There's many treatment centers like that. They create bots to leave reviews, so they have higher reviews, or their friends and family to leave reviews. And so all the negative ones are just pushed to the bottom.
Let's shift gears here then, because I have a question for you. And this is something that listeners, you guys are going to want to know. You're now living in a world of instant access, of instant information and whatnot. And I remember a couple of years ago, Boston showed me this video where a guy was cliff jumping from a really high point of, vantage point. And he was jumping down into this water, and he had a GoPro. And so it showed him jump in. It was really cool. And he hits the water, and as soon as the bubbles clear, there was a shark. Mm-hmm. And he freaks out and tries to swim away from it. And Boston's like, that would be so scary. And I'm like, dude, show me that again. And so I'm like, Boston, that's a lake. That's a freshwater lake. Yeah. Where do sharks live? Yeah. Saltwater ocean. Saltwater. I'm like, that is 100% not real. Yeah. And it boggled his mind that he was like, what? It's right here. And I'm like, look, what they did.
Photoshop has been,
and I'm like, we have to be so careful now.
Yeah. What is reality now? I'm sure, weren't there even some Super Bowl commercials with some deep fakes? Yeah. Like deep fake is nuts.
Dude, the book of Boba Fett, I just finished watching. There's deep fake Luke Skywalker. It's the coolest thing ever. Me and Cameron in tears. And you're like, what's going on? Who's that guy with the helmet?
But I was watching, I do know who he is. And I was watching it and I was like, it looks so real. Yeah. It looks so real. But
that's the thing, right? Is we are now in this time of life, we have to question everything.
Everything.
Because even some of those good reviews could be bots, right?
Absolutely.
You know, in fact, it's kind of funny. I found this out on Amazon. On Amazon, I found out that they do that a lot, where they're all, a lot of these are fake reviews.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, and so it's like, so how do we begin to make choices then? Choices about people to bring into our lives, choices about what we're seeing as reality. You know, I mean, I'm listening to this thing on TikTok, and it was talking about the issue in Ukraine, right?
Russia and Ukraine.
And one point of view is like, Russia's doing this for this reason. I'm like, that's actually kind of valid. Then I hear another one. I'm like, you know, this is what's happening over here. I'm like, oh yeah, Russia isn't valid. How the crap do we know?
It's hard.
That's why I don't like watching news. I scroll past those a lot, because it's like, there's so much.
There is one I trust. I have to look it up now.
Information about addiction recovery, right? Like, there's a situation. Now I'm going to post this so you guys can see this. They are ready to reestablish the health and drug administrator, to reconfirm him. Now, this is the guy that's been in since Obama, and on his watch for the last 5 years, we have systematically increased overdose deaths. And only one guy, I think it was from Minnesota? I can't remember. I'll post it. He's like, why are we putting him back in charge of this when we are seeing death and overdose rates? He's like,
raising.
I mean, maybe we should pick someone else. Guess how many views that video had on YouTube?
I don't know.
13.
Oh.
13.
Yeah.
We don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of times that's why news gets big.
You
stuff.
and
they
I
want
just
the big stuff.
You and I just
anyway, real quick. It's called All Sides Now.
All Sides Now. Oh yeah,
they post news from like the far left to the far right and more neutral, so that you can read all of them and make your own assessment.
Yeah,
and which is really nice.
But Marissa, who do you trust? We just finished watching Dope Sick, and oh my gosh, go watch it. We're watching Dope Sick, and the Sackler family, those evil people, evil. Mm-hmm. I mean, why don't we get started on it? They lied, they manipulated, they convinced caregivers to do this. And then who do we get mad at? We get mad at the doctors. Yeah, we get mad at them.
We get mad at the doctors, or we get mad at, quote, the addict for years and years. And what did they even do? I mean, the Sackler family, they went and said, they started some of the blame the addict. If we want to give out pain pills,
listeners,
twist it, and we just blame the addict. It's not because the pill's wrong or the doctor's wrong or whatever, because some people really need it and the chronic pain patients need it. So we can just blame it on the addict that are making it look bad.
Absolutely. And what did that do? That further stigmatized addiction.
Yeah.
And it's still happening.
Oh yeah.
It is still happening. You know, it feels like the last 10 years we've made a little bit of headway. No. We have so much to do, but that pissed me off so bad, because I remember, and I've had conversations with, I've even said this, doctors are prescribing too much. Yeah. And then we talked to Dr. B. Mm-hmm. We talked to Dr. B and we find out, like, no, guys, they're not. But what happens too is, back then too, during the whole Sackler reign, you guys, they were being pushed. They were being, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, compensated and lied to make this happen. And
then they were behind some of the big push, and this was all through medical professionals, on the pain scale. And what is the pain scale? And that is the biggest factor in care and client treatment, is the pain scale.
That pain scale. That shouldn't even really. The pain scale is, right?
Yeah.
Happy face over here.
Yeah.
Really sad, hurting face over here.
So if anyone has pain, if it's a high pain situation, then the facility, the organization, the doctors, the hospitals are failing, because somebody should never experience pain. Well, if they've had anything happen, your body has to produce pain to show us something needs to be fixed.
That's the indicator something's wrong.
That's the indicator. But it doesn't mean that if there's no pain, that there's nothing wrong, because what do painkillers do? They just mask the pain. They don't fix it. They don't fix the source of the pain. They just take away our pain receptors so we can't feel. But yeah, I remember talking to Mark Sanderson.
We gotta get Mark on the podcast.
We do. And him saying a lot of times in the ER, they had to give prescriptions because they had to get the pain scale right, because then the next indicator was client survey and satisfaction.
We did a panel discussion about this with you, Sarah, several years ago at the Delta Center, now known as Energy Solutions, now known as something else.
Yeah, something else. Mavericks.
No, I don't know. One of those things. We're the Utah Jazz play. Look how much we're Addict to Athlete. We have no idea what the Jazz play. we went there, and this is where it kind of sunk in with us when Mark said that too, because we had the doctor there, ER doctor, that said, you go in there, and it now is driven by client satisfaction.
Yes.
So they go in there, and if you have a bad experience and you give them a bad review, guess what happens to the doctor?
Yeah.
His stats go down.
Yep. And hospitals push then, because if their stats go down, then they get less funding, they get less money. Also, patients would sue doctors for, malpractice because they had pain and they weren't satisfied. Mm-hmm. So it was like this double-edged sword on who was wrong.
See, and that's why, and then who really at the end of the day fits the bill for that? The individual, because now you're labeled as a drug addict, and it wouldn't happen if you weren't an addict.
Yeah. Because
Marissa,
most people, only 1%, which was a lied about statistic, became addicted, when really
they actually said
100%, I think 99% become addicted if they're on it long enough. Their you have to, your body becomes dependent on it. It's a physiological, scientific fact. It has nothing to do with the brain and other addiction.
So you and I, we watched this documentary.
Further dependence and abuse. But
we watched a documentary, and I'm gonna put a warning on this.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, and I did this yesterday with the last little clip because I wanted to show people this documentary. Warning: extreme triggers. I need you guys to know this. It is called Life of Crime.
Yeah,
and
documentary.
It follows 3 individuals and some residual people.
Yeah.
Over
36 years.
36 years. Starts in 1984 in New Jersey. And this guy, he must have had a camera that was on his shoulder. Yeah. I mean, how he filmed some of those undercover things, I would love to know, because the cameras were huge back then.
Well, I'm guessing it was just him too. So that instead of like a whole camera and filming crew, because they were committing crimes. They were doing things that they shouldn't have, the people he was filming.
You guys, it's on HBO Max, but listen, they followed 3 people, started in 1984.
Yeah.
And they were showing the life of crime. These guys were stealing things like, I mean, it was hilarious. They were stealing like bed sheets and clothes and selling them. They're hustling.
Yeah.
And one of the very opening scenes is they all come back and they're going over their money. They're kind of getting high with just some normal stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then we see this domestic violence issue. This guy starts smacking this girl, and I broke my heart. I'm like, Marissa,
pregnant girlmegirlfriend.
I don't know if I can watch this.
Yeah.
How they let this guy into film, I'll never know.
It was tough. It was tough to watch, and I mean, as somebody, an addict or someone in recovery, it would even be harder to watch. But yes, there was a lot of abuse. There was child abuse, neglect. There was domestic violence. So yes, there's a trigger warning for many different people to watch this, but it was
so you're watching this 1984, the cop cars, like Hill Street Blues, right? I mean, you guys, it's insane. And it starts going through, and then it starts exponentially kind of speeding up. Mm-hmm. What you see is theft, poverty, addiction, prison, theft, poverty, addiction. And it follows, a few guys who get 10-year stints, 7-year stints.
Well, and then all these people, the jail, prison saved their life. Absolutely.
When they came out of jail and prison, they looked amazing.
But back then too, it was not covered by insurance. That is one thing that I've appreciated about,
absolutely,
the addiction disease model is being able to classify addiction as a brain disease has been able to brought it into the medical model. And so that they could charge insurances, the insurance policies could cover addiction and mental health treatment, which has been phenomenal, because you see that in some of the later end of this, how some of them were able to receive treatment as this progressed.
You can watch the model
and how much better it was rather than them just being locked up. Mm-hmm. And so when you hear a lot of people saying, oh, everyone just needs to be locked up because it worked for me, because that was the only option.
It was abstinence by force.
Mm-hmm. And it also, for sure it saved them, because it got them off the street. It gave them a safe place. It gave roof over their head, 3 meals a day. And so it is frustrating when people now still go, that's the only way to do it.
Okay, listen, when they got out, and you guys, this is like mid 90s, right? Early 2000s when they got out.
Yeah. Well, some of them, mid 90s.
They were like, okay, there's one guy who's on probation, and he goes over to this guy's house. His name's Freddie. Mm-hmm. And Freddie barely got out of prison. Yeah. And he goes home, right? Mom, dad.
Yep.
And Freddie's probably in his 40s at this point.
No, I think he was probably younger then.
Was he?
He's probably 30s.
Well, he goes in, and the PO comes over, and there's a lot of people there, and he's like, you cannot live here. You cannot live here.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have anywhere else to go. You can't be here.
Yeah, this is unsafe. People are using drugs.
He puts him in the
There's too many
car,
people here.
drives him to a sober living environment.
It was like a halfway house.
You guys,
thing.
this place looked worse than a trap house.
It was disgusting.
And Freddie's like, I can't live here.
He's
I don't feel comfortable here.
I don't feel comfortable. There's no way I could sleep.
They take him to a hotel, at a beautiful hotel. He's like, no, I could live here, but this is $250 a weekend.
No, it was a night. No, yeah, something like that. He was like, I don't have $3,000 in the 90s a month for rent to stay at a hotel. So what does he do? There
he
were
doesn't have
no
a choice. He can't work there. He can't live home. He can't live there. So now he's kind of stuck, right? Starts building a little bit of a relationship with his kids.
Yeah.
Goes into his PO officer, says, look, I'm getting slapped with another $50 like fee for child support and stuff. And she's like, is that all you're worried about? He's like, no.
That's huge to him too.
That's not all I'm worried about. I'm worried about court fines, all this other stuff. He's like going over all of his bills.
She didn't even want to hear it because she was like, $50. Come on. If you're, what did she say? I think she's like, if you're worried about $50, this real sober life is going to be real hard on you.
Yeah,
absolutely. Guys, why do you think he then quickly relapsed?
Yeah,
because there's zero resources, zero funding for any other help other than sending him back to the same life.
The other guy got in, got out, got clean. A few relapses, and he had a real strong sobriety. He was helping people. He got jobs that he landed. He met a girl probably back in the 80s. Her name was Delirious. Delirious. And this poor thing, she had 3 little kids. And guys, it's heartbreaking because you see these little kids begging for their mom. The documentary guy, I think his name was John. John's filming one time, and it's probably in the probably early 90s. And he's like, it's 1 a.m. to this little girl, his daughter. And he's like, why are you still awake? She's like, I don't know.
She's like, I'm always awake.
On the streets of New Jersey. Right.
She's like, I'm always awake this late. What do you mean? He's like, this isn't healthy. You should be asleep.
You watch this poor little thing grow up. You'll watch her grow up. And there's points of time where she's like, I love my mom, but I don't want her using. And one time her mom's leaving and she's like, the little girl's begging her, if you love us, if we're in your heart, you'll stay here.
Yeah.
And she sits down and she's like, well, I'm getting hot. So I'm going to leave.
She's like, Mom, please.
And she begged her not to go.
Yeah.
And Freddie ends up dying.
Don't tell me.
I'm going to tell him everything. No.
Okay. Maybe some people can't watch.
So. No. Yeah. Freddie ends up dying. The other guy, what's his name? Rob, who I thought for sure had the strongest chance, guys. He dies. And the condition they find him in is horrifying.
Horrible.
He was probably dead in his apartment for several weeks.
Traumatic.
They show his body. It looked like a special effects.
Yeah.
He missed a vein and he bled out on his kitchen floor.
Yeah.
And delirious. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. After her 3rd attempt at rehab, when rehab started coming online, she got clean.
As she got community supports. She got sober support. She got treatment. She got addiction and substance abuse treatment. And then the ability to serve and be able to help other people. And that's
where she began to accelerate, guys. She started serving. And when it showed her, we're like, holy crap, because she was so bad. I thought she's gonna be the first one to go.
Oh, she's the first one I thought would be gone.
It shows her going out into her old stomping ground, finding people, trying to get them help. She's calling on the phone. Hey, is there room here at this rehab? Treatment. She won the Newark City Award for Public Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit and they closed down all the meetings and they closed down everything,
she lost all of her support.
6 months into it, she died. Overdose.
She'd been clean for 13 years. And losing
no one made it. No one made it. If you watch this,
your rule of thirds didn't even.
My rule of thirds didn't even work there. Rule of thirds. I heard this years ago. I want you guys to pay attention to this, listeners. The rule of thirds goes like this. I heard this from the president of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Again, and I always say this, because it was a guy, which is kind of weird. The president said, there's a rule of thirds. This is circa 2002 when I heard this, when I first came online as a counselor.
Yeah.
He said 1/3 of everyone that struggles with addiction will make it. They will find the answer. They'll find sobriety. They will make it.
Long-term recovery. Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet. Yeah. All right. 2nd, 3rd, those guys will be in and out of rehab, in and out of jail, in and out of addiction for the rest of their life. That's how their life will be. Periods of clean time, periods of addiction, periods of incarceration, periods of recovery treatment. That's their life. And then the final third will die. Guys, this is in 2002. I need you to know, back then in 2002, OxyContin was in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Utah, it hadn't gotten to that point yet. It hadn't gotten real bad, but it was starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking that as a brand new, eager drug and alcohol counselor, they called it an LSAC back then, 2002. I remember thinking, bull crap, 2/3 of that suck. There's no way that's true.
Yeah.
And I was kind of offended by that because I'm like, you're giving false information.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing it happen. I started
Every year.
I started seeing clients I was working with leave and come back.
Mm-hmm. Leave, come back.
I started hearing clients' brothers and family members dying.
And then you started hearing the overdose.
One of my friends passed away. And I'm like, dude, what in the world?
Yeah. 2/3
of that suck. That can't be real, but it is, even more so now.
Yeah.
The gift, if you can call it that, is every one of us know someone that passed away. Every one of us do.
At this point, for sure.
That means they've given you a gift to be one of the 2/3 that make it. Either you're going to find sobriety and embrace it, or you're going to be in a jail, rehabs, addiction, sobriety,
prison.
And I'd rather you be there than gone.
Yeah, because you still have a chance to make it out.
But these 3 people that they followed, every one of them lost their battle to heroin. Every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the final shot is the little girl that we watched grow up. And her brother
30s.
In her 30s. And you guys, man, like, holy crap. It showed me how much work we still have to do.
Yeah.
So if we preoccupy ourselves with the stupidity, with the dumb David comments and all these other things, we're going to miss what really needs to happen. I feel bad for him. He should have taken a better approach to this. There's nothing more this team would want to do than to embrace him. Yeah. But he chose a different way, and we will not. But there are many people on this team that hurt, that need your support, that need us. We need to get that 1/3, level down. Yeah. It's a hard battle, you guys. It's hard. And I'm going to warn you again, if you watch A Life of Crime, you've got to prepare yourself because there are some wicked triggers.
Very difficult.
It is hard to watch. We saw it. We saw it on TikTok. We're like, this guy follows. Yeah. I'm like, someone has a video from long ago.
I just wanted to see, just how addiction recovery translated over that many years. It showed
me, Marissa, and I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like we are still in the infancy of this.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought in my head, we'd come so far. MAT, harm reduction, variety of programming out there. It showed me how
there's still so much stigma. There's so much that people don't believe or understand, or they see how they or a cousin or a cousin's friend of a friend got recovery and believe that means that's the only way.
There was a time not too long ago that Team Addict II Athlete, we were looking for a new place to meet. This was probably 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And a guy called me on the Blue and said, hey, I have a program, a building down here in East Bay. Come down and check it out, see if this would fit your needs. And so we went down there and I visited with them. And it was amazing. This place was awesome. They made like things for street lights and stuff. I don't know what they were doing. Pretty high-tech stuff. And as he was giving me a tour, he showed me one of the guys who was over a certain department. And the guy introduced me. Mm-hmm. And he said, the guy told this fellow employee of his, he's like, yeah, we're looking to give them some space to run a weekly meeting called Addict Athlete. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the guy heard the word addict, he's like, I don't want addicts here.
Yeah.
I don't want addicts here. I have a brother who's an addict and he steals everything that's not glued down.
Yeah.
I don't want people walking around here coming into these rooms. I'm thinking, dude, what?
Yeah.
You remember? I was so pissed. I'm like, well, I don't want to meet here anyway.
Yeah.
The guy that was giving me the tour felt like an inch tall. He felt so bad. And I remember telling him that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the guy that made those accusations, he's been hurt.
Obviously. Yeah.
Right.
And does that happen? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we also hold a different standard to our athletes. And that's the point, is that they're seeking recovery. And if you never have a chance to redeem yourself, why do you think anyone would ever want to redeem themselves? That's,
Softball field. Okay. Playing softball. Intercom Addicts field number one, addicts field number one. Carly runs up there. Please use our full name.
Yeah.
We're not addicts. We're Addict II Athlete.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry.
Thank you for explaining. I didn't even think about it, which I think happens more times than not. People say something and don't even think about it. So that's why we're here. Let's educate.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot here, a lot to unload, I'll tell you. Out of time, but I want to thank you all for listening. I want to give a very special shout out and some kudos to one of our minor leaguers.
Yeah.
Zach Long.
Yep. Zach Winters.
Yeah. Zach Winters. Yeah. Christy Long. Zach Winters.
Zach Winters.
Congratulations, Zach. Zach, one of our very first minor leaguers, was recently hired on with Utah County Division of the Sheriff's, right?
Yeah.
Utah County Sheriff's Office.
Yep. He's grown up. He's become an adult.
I am blown away by this.
He's done the academy, I think, correct? At this point?
I'm not sure, but maybe. Christy, let us know.
Yeah.
Zach, congratulations on behalf of Team Addict II Athlete in the minor league. Thank you. You've now given us someone that we can show the young ones that it's possible.
Yeah. And not just that, but like his mom's in recovery. He lost his dad to suicide and addiction. And we need people like him in the jail.
Yeah.
In probation.
On the street.
People like him patrolling on the street that have an understanding heart. That know that there's another way, that we don't just have to treat people punitively.
This is
with behavior management.
Yeah.
That rarely works.
I
think for him to put himself in this situation is phenomenal.
I think it's amazing to have someone on that side that's like can have the authority at the same time have the understanding.
Yep.
Zach's you're gonna save thousands of lives, brother, and I am so proud of you.
The empathy, but also him to be able to teach other coworkers. Oh my goodness.
So on behalf of Team Addict II Athlete, Zach and Christy, congratulations to both of you. I am just blown away when I saw Coach Pratt post that yesterday. My heart just melted. I'm like, this is great. It's where it begins. This is how we change the world, athletes. I once heard this, and I'll repeat it, and I'll repeat it as often as I need to. Each of us have the capacity to change up to 70,000 lives just by simply being who we are. At that rate, we could change the world with only 8,000 people. Let's do it.
That's it.
Thank you so much for listening, downloading, sharing, and subscribing to the podcast. Thank you, Radio Ronan, for all that you do for Team Addict.
He was hired as a deputy for Utah County Sheriff.
Congratulations. That is the coolest. Thank you so much, brother. Until next time, athletes, go turn